Hello, everyone, and welcome to WITI Conversations. My name's Kayla. I'm the host of the show. And on today's WITI Conversation, we have Nikki Sitze with us. So, Nikki, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kayla. Thank you very much for inviting me. Glad to be here.
And I'm personally so excited to have Nikki on the show today because she is a friend of mine as well as a colleague. She's an instructor at OTA and she's a trader. She's a mom. She's basically my hero. But I'm just excited to talk with her about how she got into trading and investing, how she got connected with Online Trading Academy. And then she's going to talk a little bit about what she trades in, which is the Forex market. So she's going to give us an introduction to what is Forex, what does it mean to buy a Forex, to buy a currency pair, and some of the benefits of trading in Forex. So, Miss Nikki, thank you again for being here. And would you just tell us a little bit about your background? Because your background is amazing to me with all the things that you've done in your life. But give the guests just an introduction.
My career, my education did not plan me for trading, plan anything about trading and investing. I'm actually a trained scientist. So my degree is in biology, specifically genetics. And I spent a little bit of time working in that field and realized that that was not where I was going to end up. Just because I didn't want to go back to school and take on student loan debt, I ended up working at a software company. So I ended up working there for about 12 years. Well, I will tell you that as much as computers and electronics run our lives these days, that is not my passion. So I was really, really, really ecstatic when right after my son was born, I ended up leaving the software industry to take on a new title that is my favorite title in the whole world, which is mom. Okay. And I went home and I figured I could get him to kindergarten. I thought I had enough money tucked away to budget it out so that I could get him to kindergarten before I had to go back to work. Well, along in about first grade, I kind of went, maybe I better figure out something else to do. So I apparently did okay budgeting, but finance was not something that I ever understood. Finance, investing, anything around trading, anything around money. And so my grandmother passed along in there. So now this is not a bad thing. She lived to be over 100. So great life, right? Great life. And my mom basically said, you know what? I'm an only child, and of the three girls, you're it. So I went, I don't know how to talk to financial people, right? So I was trying to think of a way to get a basic financial education without going to college or whatnot. And that's where Online Trading Academy came in. I heard the ad, I came in, I thought, all I'm going to do is learn the words that I need to talk to the advisor. Well, once I got there, because to me, finance, the only thing that you could do was trade stocks, right? So I thought, I'll just go figure out what stocks and bonds are, and then I'll be good. Well, then I got here and I learned about futures and options and currencies and stocks, and you can trade all these things. And I went, that's interesting. I started as a student just trying to figure out what this world of trading and investing was. Now I teach and now I'm involved in the industry, and I cannot imagine a day in my life without looking at charts these days. So
Well,
there
I
you go.
love
That's me in a
that.
nutshell.
I love that your favorite title is mom. Like, despite all the things that you've accomplished. I mean, we were talking before the show, and you were telling me how you wrote the breast cancer gene. What was it? Not the breast cancer gene. I don't know anything, but please tell us just a moment, really quickly, about that.
Yeah, so in my brief science career, I worked as a lab rat. And one of the projects that I worked on was sequencing the breast cancer gene. So if you actually go pull up, yeah, I told you it was genetics. It's very geeky. But when you think about what genetics and what we do, most of the time when you're doing lab work, it's a lot like cooking. You have a recipe that you
Sure.
follow. And so I followed the recipe. I got the data. We put all the data together and published the paper, and ended up figuring out what the mutations were for the breast cancer gene as part of that project.
That is absolutely incredible. So you have all these accomplishments, but your favorite is being a
Mom.
mom, and I love that. There's a couple of things that you actually pointed out just in introducing yourself, which I really connect with. One is I started out as a student at Online Trading Academy, and I didn't really know if I wanted to do this whole trading thing, but I wanted some introduction to finances going into my adult life, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is so cool. This is so amazing. So I definitely connect with you on that one. And another is, you mentioned that you just wanted to be able to speak the same language as these financial advisors and these people that were going to control, the will of your grandmother or whatever it was, the trust. Now what I want to get into is a little bit about what you specifically trade, which is Forex and foreign exchange, that is. And so tell us a little bit about what is foreign exchange? What is the currency market? What does it mean to buy a currency pair? And just give us a little introduction to that.
Excellent. Okay. So I actually trade in what they call the spot Forex market. So if you think about the world economy, what we need to do on a daily basis, moving goods around the world, because it's a more global economy than it's ever been at any time in the past. That means that countries are buying things and selling things to each other all the time, which means that if I'm a company or an individual going to this country, I need to be able to understand what the exchange rate is between those currencies. That's the currency market. So when you have these currency markets, everybody's involved. You've got banks, you've got institutions, you've got hedge funds, you've got companies, you've got all the way down to like maybe, grandma going on vacation. Okay. Everybody's in this market. And what it really is when you think about all of the other markets, you're trading your currency for a stock or a contract in one of these other markets. To trade currencies, I'm trading my currency for another currency. So it's on the spot. I now own that currency. This is fascinating to me. I didn't even know this market existed when I came to be learning about these financial markets, but it fascinated me to think about the fact that everybody is out there figuring out what one currency is worth versus another. So then, when you move into that market space and you start trading in there, now you get to the point where you're looking at when you trade one for the other, you expect those values to change or balance out against each other. Well, now, when you get into trading, everything's all about the end game, right? It's not about just being able to trade one currency for another. You want the value of the currency that you're trading to go up or down based on your direction, right? So that's what was fascinating to me. And like I said, I didn't even know this market existed, but because of the fact that this is the biggest market on the planet. This is the biggest market. It's over a $5 trillion a day market on average.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's huge, right? Which means what? That they had to, in order for like normal people to be able to trade with banks, they had to do what? They had to make the ability for us to trade very small, yet control large position sizes in these markets. So when I think about this, the currency market was a great place for me to learn, right? It cost me very little to participate in a real market condition, right? I can get it down so where I'm risking a penny a pip. Is everybody okay with 50 cents? If I can put 50 cents in the market to learn a concept rather than $5, $50, $100, to me, that's a great way to learn how these markets work and to be able to work out what you're doing in trading.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know that that's something that people say often you should start out in sim trading. And I do think that people should start out in sim trading, but you kind of think about, it's not as the same as kind of getting in the game and putting your money on the line. Well, with Forex, if you can risk, 50 cents a trade, it's not so bad, right? Even if you're just starting out, but we should still start out in sim. And so speaking about that, one of the things I wanted to talk about is the benefits of trading Forex. And you already talked about some of these, and this is really one of them, which is that you can start with a smaller amount of money. I know you mentioned that when you started out, you didn't have much money. You were kind of just figuring out your plan and whatnot. So that's definitely a benefit of Forex, and I know that there's more. Would you touch on some of those benefits of trading Forex or what the Forex currencies have to offer us as traders? or investors, that
Absolutely.
is.
So that's all right. Absolutely. So one of the things that we're looking at with the forex market, right? It's all based on currency. Well, as long as there's a bank open, there's their ability to trade. So forex is really the one market that is available 24 hours a day, basically about 5.5 days a week, right? Okay, so you can then even expand into think about the other currency that's now in the markets, right? That everybody's talking about, cryptocurrencies. Those don't even take a break. Those are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? So these are markets that you can participate in wherever you are. It doesn't matter. That is the brilliant part of it. There's usually some kind of market open, and you can plan your day around when the markets that you're interested in are open. Or you can do what? Make it fit around your life. That's the beautiful part of it. When you think about trading in the stock market, it's only open, at least the US stock market is only open 6.5 hours a day, right? So if you're not going to be in front of your computer for that 6.5 hours, because it's currencies, we also generally don't have a lot of gaps because those markets are open all the time. There's not a lot of times where price really jumps from one to another. And the biggest advantage to me is liquidity. Okay, $5 trillion a day changes hands. There's pretty much always going to be somebody on the other side of your trade.
Yeah, that's a big benefit. That's something that I was going to mention was the gaps. The fact that the markets close only on the weekends, the only really gap risk that you have. I mean, intraday gaps could happen, but it's basically out of slippage, not really a true gap. So the only time you really need to worry about gaps is over the weekend, where if you're trying to trade stocks, you do have that gap risk. The market closes each day, and if it opens at a much let's say you bought a stock, if it opens much lower than where you bought that stock, you didn't really have a chance to even think about getting out before that gap happens. So that's, to me, a big benefit with Forex or with these markets that trade 24 hours. Except for maybe if you're up at 3 a.m. and maybe you should try to go to sleep and you're like addicted. Is that you? Is that you?
Not really so much addicted, but it's one of those that sometimes when you have a schedule where you're dealing with family and whatnot, and you've got, I mean, life sometimes happens, and
Absolutely.
sometimes your brain just gets to start to spinning, and if you have something that you can focus on and relax and get to your point where you can maybe get back to sleep and get on with life, sometimes that helps. And if it's something that with trading with me, it's such a part of my life now that when when I go on vacation, it's one of those, it's really hard for me to leave that computer behind. Okay. Because it is so much a part of my life. And so what I need to do is sometimes just take that, wind it down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is hard. I will say it is hard to leave the computer behind. I typically bring my computer with me on vacation. Just because you never know when something crazy is going to happen and some good movement comes into the market, and you want to be there. So we should take vacations, but I'm with you. It's a benefit and it's a pro and a con, all in one.
Yeah.
The fact that we can trade it all 24 hours a day, nearly 7 days a week, 5 days a week. So the benefits of Forex, the fact that it's open 24 hours and that you can begin with a small position size. The other thing that's interesting is, I think the average person, when they think about kind of investing in something for a long period of time, they think about stocks. They think about investing in stocks, a buy and hold strategy, and maybe passing these down to their kids, their grandkids, which is definitely an option. But what people don't think about is Forex as a potential investment vehicle. And that was interesting to me. That was actually news to me when I learned about that the Forex market trends really nicely. For one, there's leverage, and leverage cuts both ways, but it's part of why you can start with a smaller account. And so it has leverage, and the other asset classes that have leverage are options and futures. But both options and futures have an expiration date, whereas Forex does not. So it's got that leverage without the expiration. Stocks don't have an expiration, but they don't have as much leverage as Forex has. So we want to be careful with leverage, everybody. We got to know what we're doing. It cuts both ways, but it is a way to start out with a smaller account size and get involved with something. And we should consider Forex as an investment tool, not just stocks, for example.
So, Kayla, that reminds me of something. When you think about it, okay, as an American, all of my assets are valued in what? US dollars, right?
Yeah.
Properties we own, the stocks we own, our 401ks, our bank accounts, our paychecks, everything that we do is valued in US dollars. What if you could hedge against the drop in the dollar? That's one of the other advantages to the Forex market that most people don't think about. If I trade my US dollars for another currency, now I own that currency. And if the dollar drops against it, now I'm protected a little bit from my assets because I own that other currency and not just US dollars. So that's another longer term advantage to Forex that a lot of people really don't think about.
Right. Well, a lot of people don't even realize that they're long the dollar, right? For that reason. Or
Completely.
it could be whatever currency that you're in whatever country that you're in. You're long the euro, you're long the Canadian dollar, whatever it is.
Yep.
Whatever country that you're living in. Last thing that I just wanted to get your take on, or just get your perspective on, is that we've created this group, Women in Trading and Investing, to really kind of encourage women to take control and just to get informed more than anything. And this isn't just a boys' game, and that's definitely my opinion, that this is not just a boys' game. I've never felt that, even though, and you can relate, that we're fewer in this world, women than men. It's not just a guy's game, and the men are very welcoming of women. So what would you like to say to the people that are interested in trading and investing, or maybe those that are not interested in trading and investing? What would you say to them if you could?
Wow, that's a really open-ended question. All right, you're gonna get my passion here. One of the things that I had growing up was I had a dad that watched his friends that were female, like either suffer from a divorce or death in the family. They became widows. They lost, all of the people that they depended on, that they were using to make those financial decisions in their lives. And so when it came to it, they were like, I don't even know where the bank accounts are. So I had the unique experience growing up. My dad always said, make sure that you know what you're doing, at least in your finances, to get the basics, know how to pay the bills, know where the insurance is, know where the wills are. If you're not going to do anything else, make sure you know where all the accounts are and where the assets are. Okay. Why? Because at some point in time, it's just a fact of life. Women tend to live longer than men. Okay. It's a fact of life that at some point in time, this is going to come to us. And if you understand where it is, it shouldn't scare you as much. Okay. And this is not a hard business. Think about it. Okay. Now I'm going to make a joke. Think about it. The men do it, right? So we can do it better. Okay. All right. Now there's the joke, right? But still, it's one of those that even if you're not interested in trading and investing, make sure you know where the money is. Make sure you understand how it's set up, how everything's working. But if you are interested in trading and investing, one of the things that I think as women that we bring to the table is we tend to be a little more able to manage risk. We understand what it is to make sure that there's food on the table for the family, that the kids have shoes on their feet and a roof over their head, right? We are the ones that make the world go round. I hate to, if anybody's offended by that, I honestly think that women make world work, right? So in this case, why not? Why not try to add this skill? It may be something that you go, yeah, I'm not interested in, but at least you know, and at least you understand about it, right? So that's one of my passions. That's why I teach. One of the things that I found when students come into my classroom, it's generally the people that have no experience whatsoever who end up being the better traders. Because why? They leave all of the preconceptions are not there. I don't have to unteach them anything. So that to me is really the power of women in investing and trading, is because one of the things that we do is we bring that risk management, that calm, that all right, let's make this happen. And that to me is real power for women going forward.
Well, that was just an amazing wrap up of the show. I think we could end it there with that. But yeah, I do think that I again connect with you in another way, which is my dad was the same. Was like, you gotta know what's going on. You gotta plan your life to be in control of it all. Later, if you have a partnership and you can share those things, great. But that's not, you got to plan for what's right now. And so sounds like we both have pretty cool dads. They probably would be friends. But I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, for sharing who you are and opening up to our viewers and to informing us about what is Forex and the benefits of Forex. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you for having me, Kayla.
Well, that's gonna do it for today's show, all about Forex. I hope that it's maybe piqued your interest in getting to know what is Forex, and now you know that you're long the dollar or the euro or the New Zealand dollar or whatever it is, wherever you live at in the world. And so now you know a little bit about that, know a little bit about Nikki's story, and can be inspired by her. Tune in next week for some more witty conversations.